Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We have a preview, we'll call it instead of an unboxing today, of Defending America. This is take two of this because take one the video did not take. So but nothing has happened and in the meantime, so we're going to be able to take a look at the pristine components here. So what we have is Defending America, Intercepting the America Bombers, a Gregory M. Smith game from Compass Games and product director John Kranz. So very interesting hypothetical scenario. This is a companion game to and can be played with the America Bomber game that came out, I believe, either last year or early this year. So for those interested in this hypothetical scenario, and if you were interested enough in the America Bomber game, then I think you definitely want this game as well. So let's open her up and check it out. So we have, first of all, a 2-inch standard Compass Games box. This is in the thick stock box that we get from Compass nowadays. There are 4 dice, 2 10-siders and 2 6-siders. These are the standard Compass Games dice. I do not know where they get their dice, but it is not Kaplow and it is not Chessex, because I am very familiar with those dice. So, these came shrink-wrapped. As a couple of recent Compass Games counter sheets have, presumably to prevent them from just exploding out of these sheets. It's one counter sheet on nice thick brown core stock. These look like the exact same counter stock and printing quality as the counters from NATO, which I am also very, very happy with. So I see 0 issues with them. They will, if I'm not mistaken, be hard to fit into my corner clipper, but other than that, I'll have to use the other corner clipper. So nice counters. These are not counter-heavy games. The family of games that Gregory M. Smith has kind of taken dominance of, the narrative-focused war game in the style of things like B-17 Queen of the Skies. Greg has done tons and tons of work in recent years in this space, and they tend not to be particularly counter-heavy games. So you've got some counters for planes, some counters for enemy planes, some numbers, I don't know what those are for, and then you've got markers for various things like ammunition and damage and medals and pilot skills and stuff like that. So, and carriers, actually, which is kind of cool, because you can do the interceptions from the carriers. Now, next, we'll take a look at the rulebook. This is a 24-page, full-color satin finish with relatively large print. There's about 18 pages of actual rules in here, about one of which is optional rules. And then you've got some designer's notes in the back. Now, as this is a hypothetical scenario, and in the late 40s, war's still going, I definitely want to see designer's notes and things like that from the designer to better understand how they might be approaching these kinds of things. Also useful is a bibliography to give us confidence that the designer is in fact not just making it all up. So here we have the credits to designed by Gregory M. Smith. Special thanks to John Kranz. Artwork by Bruce Urian. Project director John Kranz. And the box art is by Bruce Urian and I think Brian Miller. Is that correct? Brian Miller, that is correct. And we got some info on the aircraft as well. So the back of the box says this is medium complexity. And I'm not going to argue with that, but this is going to be one of those examples of a very easy medium complexity game because it's very procedural. You can literally just punch it all out, set it up, start playing, follow the procedure as given in the rulebook. The rulebook will tell you what to do, and it should be very easy to play. So if 18 pages of rules is something you find intimidating, which is very unlikely if you're watching this video, then don't sweat it. Just set it up and start playing it and you should be fine. Whoops, we've got some counters coming out. This is why they come shrink wrapped. So let's try and keep that in the box. All right, so we have, I'm going to show you, I would normally show you the counters last, but that's not how they were in the box. There is a little errata sheet here. It looks like the only errata they've found are these 2 things, which I consider pretty trivial. Put that there. We have a slender pad of sortie logs. Looks like there's roughly 10 or 12 of these. I would, of course, recommend Yeah, very interesting, actually. So they're actually dated April of 47 all the way up to March of 48. So this is 47, 48. That's interesting. And there's actually some notes here. I guess this is when aircraft become available and that kind of thing. So I would recommend photocopying these for personal use because there's not that many of them on this pad. We get a huge stack of player aids and displays. So these tend to be table-driven games. Certainly the other games of Greg's that I've played, like The Hunters, which is a fantastic game, are very table-driven. So we have a sheet of tables. We have random events, flight school, spare time activities, which makes me think there's some kind of campaign in here that I haven't seen yet. And is everything else aircraft displays? Because I don't think that's true. So we have this display, which is the P1 position chart as interceptors are approaching the America bomber. You position them on this chart. You've got these pilot tracks that keep track of pilot skills. And there's a different one for United States Marine Corps, U.S. Navy, and U.S. Army Air Force, which is pretty cool. So those are just displays. And then we get, I want to do the aircraft last because there's kind of a ton of them. And then we have this raid chart. So this tells you where, oh, cool, they're even dated actually. So April, June 1947, you roll what looks like a D66. For those who don't know, a D66 is a 2D6 roll where you designate one as the tens die and one as the ones die. So if black is tens, then I roll and I have a 33, which means if it's between April and June of 1947, then I would be, the German target of the raid would be the shipyards in Newport News, Virginia, which is pretty cool. So, and we'll see that on the map too. So that's actually pretty cool. And it actually tells you what zone it's in too. We'll see that in a minute. Now there's tons and tons and tons of aircraft here. And we have 2 German cards. One of which has what looks to me like German escorts, ME-262s and GO-229s. And then on the back, we have TA-400s and Dorado E-555-1. This looks like the America bomber itself. And then on the other one, we have other big bombers, the ME-364, the Henkel 277, the Focke-Wulf 300, and the Junkers 390, which is weirdly... For a plane that's going to be flying over the Atlantic, I'm not sure that they would use that camouflage pattern. So those are the enemy planes. And then we have a huge stack of different American planes. So we have the F-7, F-3 Tiger Cat and the Boeing XF-8B1, no nickname. And you can tell, actually, so this would be presumably U.S. Navy. Here is the XP-67 Moonbat. So we have a whole bunch of like hypothetical American planes too, because I'm pretty sure, well, some of these I think are planes that got built in the Cold War era. Some of them I think are hypothetical. Convair XP-81, P-80A Shooting Star, and F-86 Sabre, F-8 F-1B Bearcat. This is a prop plane, obviously, where we're well into the jets, into the jet era, as the game proceeds, at least. F-8 F-1 Bearcat, FJ-1 Fury, and F-2H-2 Banshee, F-2H-1 Banshee, and F-H-1 Phantom, F-89A Scorpion, and XP-61 Black Widow. I feel like there's some color coding happening here, and I don't know what that is. Bell XP-83 and P-80B Shooting Star. So presumably these are Air Force, and the blue background is Navy. But what about the Marines? Are they leaving the Marines out? Maybe. I don't know. Because I'm OCD, that's how I'm going to organize these things. So we have, as you can see, a whole lot of different aircraft available. Now, here's something else new that I am not sure I've seen from Compass in the past. This has got a mounted board. So, board is kind of a weird way to put it, right? Because it's 8.5 by 11. It doesn't have the edge wraps, which doesn't bother me, but it also lays nice and flat. And here we have the various zones here, right? You have the German air base in the Azores that can get as far west as Chicago, and of course Wright-Patterson. So these are going to be the Allied bases or U.S. bases. Carriers in the different zones, or Andrews Air Force Base or Wright-Pat, which is of course in Dayton, which is about an hour from me. And then you have a handy sequence of play on here and a weather display as well. So this is kind of going to be the sort of zoomed out strategic display for the game. And it's a nice touch to have this mounted too. And particularly since it feels good. Like a lot of mounted pieces I think don't necessarily feel as nice as they necessarily should. So we're going to put all this back in the box, trying not to blow up the counter sheet hilariously as we have done in the past. So this has been a quick preview of Greg Smith's new game, Defending America. I will put a link to the product page on Compass Games' website in the video description, so check it out if you are interested. If you have found the video of use, please do give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to help support Ardwulf's Lair, then there are links to do so in the video description, so check those out as well. In the meantime, thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.